Simply as there is no fight. Join me in prayer. The invocation of an righteous. And all things call upon the name of the Lord. And without turn to God through his only begotten Son, do not thou undertake to prove or think anything. Vast and mighty one, creator of heaven and master of light and darkness, he who was, is, and always shall be. We adore thee, and we invoke thee. So it is commanded and conferred, so mote it be. Learn the entire invocation of Abraxas on the 100-day magical journey of summer, Frank Monday, and join pathways of the Magi. Yeah, sounds like a good idea, huh? Welcome, Wizard, Warrior, Wanderer, Wayfarer, and Wildcat alike. I hope you are doing well out in Happy Land. This is Frank Monday on the Frank Monday channel. Open lines, paranormal encounters, broadcasting to you from the central kingdom of Celestial Dragon, Twilight Zone, Old Peking. Wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you may be receiving this transmission, you are welcome. Today we have a special guest, Frater Francis the Jesuit, also known as the Jersey Devil. He might be tuning in later to converse with us over his recent meanderings into the realms of the gnomes. So if you've ever considered or thought about doing earth magic and making a deeper connection with the subterranean wayfarers who brew mystic medicine and engage in paranormal logistics, then you might be interested in hearing from the king of hell himself, Frater Francis the Jesuit. I would remind everyone that the time is now to sub the Lunar Light Entertainment Discord and become a member, get behind the scenes photos and footage, and engage with a community of like-minded people that are on a mission of spiritual self-cultivation and doing the great work. Also, please take a moment to check me out on www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday and put a little something, something in the tip jar. That keeps the lead in the pencil, the pep in my step, all that happy horseshit. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment on the video, guys. Let us know if you've ever had a paranormal encounter, and if so, what did that look like? How did it make you feel? And why are you sharing it for the first time, maybe, or why have you never shared it with other people? Right? Sometimes we do that. So we've got the Lunar Light Entertainment Discord. We've got buymeacoffee.com, and let me see if the green room is working. Adding to the conversation now, Frater Francis. Hey, it dropped you. Why did it fucking drop you, bro? What's up? Oh, okay, you're back. It says I can add you to the stage, but I'm not sure. Frater Francis the Jesuit, can you hear me, sir? Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, is that you, man?
Wait.
Is this the Jersey Devil? Yeah, I can hear you. Is this the Jersey Devil? Is this Frater Francis the Jesuit? King of Hell 777. Have you manifested on the etheric waves? Can you hear us, Brother Frank? Your microphone is muted for some reason. Why does it say that? Unmute mic, okay? Can't unmute your guest because they chose to mute themselves. It says you chose to mute yourself. I could hear you loud and clear, Frater Francis. I don't know if you could hear me or not, but guys, that's the way of the world. Not everything works out always, but let's see. We've got open lines, paranormal encounters. So I'll wait to see if the king of hell is going to make an appearance again here in the abodes of happy land. It looks like he might be back. Let me do a little bit of background introduction on the king of hell here. So, Frater Francis the Jesuit, also known as the Jersey Devil, is out on the east coast of the United States of America, reigning from his throne at the ninth level of the hellish domain. He's in command of a legion of 777 demoniacal forces, cacodemons, more powerful than all in hell. And he's been doing work with the gnomes recently in the subterranean pathways of the fathomless cavern, and he may have something to report. I'm not exactly sure. He's having difficulty reaching up from those dark demonic depths across the etheric waves to communicate with us today. But let's see here. Frater Francis, can you hear me? You're back in. Okay.
Hello.
I see you there, but I can't hear you yet. There you are. I can hear you now. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I believe that Satan is Jesus. That's my belief.
Yeah, that Satan and Jesus are the same. Well, Rudolf Steiner triangulates him. He says that the Jesus factor, the Christ consciousness, is polarized by both Ahriman and Lucifer. So maybe if you that whole trinity, if you combined it as an amalgamation, then that might be what people are talking about when they say Satan. Or, its mirror image, as it was originally brought forth from the astral realm, it should be Natas, Natas, right?
Hey, that's Satan backwards.
So, yeah, if you're summoning that Satan energy, then you'll be dealing with Natas, right? Not Natas, not any of those other um diminutives, right? They're diminutive characters of the one great Lord of Hell. How you been, man? What the hell's been going on out in the backwoods of Jersey? Have you made your way to New York recently?
I'm good. No, no, I haven't been there. Just been,
Right. Okay, cool.
yeah.
You've been up to you've been up to other shit. You said you were working in a fucking gas station. Are you still at the gas station?
No, no. I work somewhere
No.
else now. I don't want to say where,
So you
but
s- so you got down into the depths, son. You visited the realm of the succubi, and then one followed you back and took like took material form in the prime material plane and tried to fucking get your golden elixir from you. That's what happened, really? That's fucking crazy, bro. You got to be careful, man. I told you, fuck around with those dark magics, and you can get real power, but you can get in trouble too. Next thing you know, you got a coven of succubus following you around, suckling at your tit. Which, I mean, if
no, no.
that's
I
something you
never met one
want,
in
fuck.
person. I never met one in person.
No, well,
The
she
only
has
one.
the one you were talking about. Yeah, the one you were talking about in the last chat. That's that same energetic formation. Oh, you okay? So you guys didn't actually like hang out or nothing together. You didn't bring her.
Let
You
me
didn't let her
explain.
inside your magic circle. Okay, you didn't let her inside your magic circle. That's good. That's smart.
No, no, no. Let me explain. Let me explain.
Okay, yeah. Break it down
So
for me.
this lady, obviously, I'm younger. This lady's older, right? You know my location. You know, right? She lives in Kansas. Okay.
Okay.
So, yep. And so she would say weird shit over DMs, and I'm like, what the fuck? But I would just go along with it because I'm like, where is this going? This is so odd. And
Right.
then I found out some other
Right.
stuff. But yeah, so I just blocked her. and never talk to her
Okay.
again. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
well
anyway,
that's kind of harsh. You know, I remember that you were talking about teasing out some of those demons, right? And then when they
I'd
start
fuck her.
manifesting, you don't want, yeah, you don't want to necessarily block them right away, you know, because I mean,
Oh,
if your
oh no,
will
I'm
is
quick on
done,
the
right?
block. I'm quick on the block.
Are you really? Okay.
I'm quick on the block. Sometimes not really. I mean, it just in
It
uh
depends, yeah.
uh in that instance, if you want to do like, if you're trying to in that instance, you have to block.
Okay,
If you're dealing with
I
someone
gotcha.
who's like, in my opinion, if I just in my opinion, like for like other people, if you ever come across that situation, the best thing to do is block because it pisses them off.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
do that. Definitely, if you're dealing with that
Uh,
situation, block. But Frank, maybe you would deal with it. But for me, it just it it like gives me instant relief. All right, all good. Because blocking is powerful.
yeah, certainly it's your banishing, right? You banish them, exile.
That's it. If you're trying to banish that person, block them.
Certainly, that does it. It's one click magic. I mean, we've got powerful magic mirrors that we work with, and there's certainly some entities you summon forth that maybe misanthropes or I don't know what the situation was. I mean, but you're the one making the decisions, so you're the wizard in control, the wizarding will.
All right,
I
for
summoned a
this,
familiar,
I'll
man.
tell you. I'll tell you. Have you ever heard of the app Clubhouse?
I
You
haven't,
might
no. I think
haven't.
maybe you told me about it. Did you tell me about it once in the past?
Maybe it was popular during COVID.
Oh, really? No, I don't know anything
Yep.
about it.
And it's basically like
Tell
what
me.
we're doing right now. It's like it literally
Okay.
looks like, imagine like this, right? Like there's no cameras.
Yeah.
It's just audio and then an icon and a name. And then there's like rooms with hundreds or thousands of people, sometimes tens of thousands of people. And not everyone can talk, obviously. There's like a stage and blah blah blah. So anyway, I met this, and then it was 11:11. This is the true story. And I was smoking weed in my car, and I
Mm,
go, let me go into this. Let me go into this clubhouse room, and it was like It was like something about the Baphomet, right? That was the title. Like, it was like the title was surrounding the theme of the Baphomet. So I get in there in 11:11. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And the guy's talking, right? And I just follow him simply, right, while he's talking. And there's like a bunch of people in there. I leave, and then the next day he's in a room, or he's not in a room. Another person that he's affiliated with, right there on stage, and it's a smaller room. So I hop in, right? And I hop in, and I go, hey, I know that guy's a witch. I know he's a witch because his name is a sigil. And she was getting mad as fuck, right? And then the guy cops in the room, right? And then I start talking shit to him. I'm like, I know your name's Sigil. I start calling him out a little bit, and I'm like, and then he starts threatening me, blah blah blah. So long story short, we become friends, and he like does these workshops, basically is how you would call it. Like he does it at work. He does like but he calls them ceremony, right? Listening.
yeah.
So what he does is he'll have people subscribe to a Patreon for like $20 a month, $10, right? Whatever, $20 a month, right? And when you subscribe to the Patreon, every Friday he holds this thing called ceremony. And so we became friends, right? So I was like, oh, I'll support you, right? So it became like one of the, like, I wasn't like, oh, ceremony. I was like, all right, yeah, I'll support you, right? Because we became friends, through this thing. And at the time, it was $10. I was like, I got $10.
Yeah,
Gave him
sure.
$10. Wait, right? Wait till how this shit ends. Give him $10, right? I go in there, and then he starts showing sigils of Lucifer, Lilith, and like the entire ceremony is about like these demonic beings. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck is going on here? Like, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, this isn't. I don't want to be fucking. And I'm like, he's harvesting our energy, right? I'm like, he's fucking harvesting our
Yeah,
energy.
absolutely.
And then so basically, so he kicks me out. So remember, you were like, they don't want you to expose him. So I was exposing him, right? And he kept kicking me out of the Discord, and I would rejoin. Listen, Frank, I literally probably have been kicked out close to 20 times. I've made 20 different accounts coming in and out of this Discord. Now, little do they know is I'm on my last account. Like, they've done all types of security measures. Like, you got to put in a phone number. I've put in 5 different phone numbers into this thing, right? Just keeping an eye on it because he, like I said, like he threatened me. He like gave out an old like an address that I used to live in. It's on the internet somehow or another, right?
Yeah,
Thankfully, no one I
wow.
know lives there now. No one I know. So he's like, he texted me, right? He texted me like this encrypted message with like my address and like streets surrounding the area and like this weird. It doesn't make sense unless my address, blah blah blah, so on and so forth.
Right.
So I forget where this was going, but basically, yeah, you just gotta block that person, and so they do Reiki, and they do, and they claim, God, I don't fucking know if what they do works. Like, I don't know, but everything you said was spot on, like about like attracting the sick people, because they would fucking kick me out, but I would just keep going back in, and I would tell people like, yo, this is what's going on, and they wouldn't believe me. I was like,
Right. Yeah. Well, a lot of those characters, they use all of that woo woo, new age mumbo jumbo as a cover for what they've really got going on, which is like this malignant sickness. They're working for the Dark Lords, man. They want to pull you in away from if there's any purity or sanctity in your own situation. They just want to pull you into this negative downward spiral of degeneration. So yeah, you got to be aware of that because the magical path, it's littered with these kinds of charlatans. Like you called them out. You said, hey, they're charlatans. And I'm always a little wary of that because I don't want to malign anyone's character. Like I'm suspicious of some people, and I can see it, pretty clearly. It's like when they're engaging in a lot of heavy marketing, and they're basically just being charlatans. But at the same time, yeah, let them do their thing because mostly it's the uninitiated who are going to be deceived, and that's not necessarily bad. It might profit them. They might make a little money, but let them do their thing. They'll pay for it.
yep,
They'll
yep,
pay for it. To
you're
each to each
spot
his
on.
to each his own.
You're spot on. You're spot on.
Yeah, there's no escaping retribution. Like I was talking about earlier, and I said, hey, you're doing a lot of good work with the gnomes and stuff, and you're engaging in research of the gnomish magics, but you got to be careful because they will absolutely, you know they'll you don't want to offend their culture. They have their own unique culture, and they'll definitely give you power and even like guide you to buried treasure and do all kinds of different fun things with you. But like I was saying too, if you fuck around and you're not ready and they pull you into their realm, then you end up on Dave Politis 411 missing, like suddenly here's Frater Francis the Jesuit, and then he's just boom, he's gone from the prime material plane as we know it. And you're living with the gnomes and you're like, hey, it's only been a couple of days or a few weeks, or maybe it turns into a year, and then you want to come back to your regular life, and you make your way back here, and 100 years has passed, or 500 years has passed, and everything's different, and then so we would never see you again, but you would be able to come back, but it would be a whole different scenario. So you gotta that does happen to people, especially children who are psychically attuned. They disappear into those realms because oftentimes they are a lot more fun than just your old regular societal norms. And so it's something to be wary of.
I find like a lot of Mexican like people believe in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like a lot of.
Well, go ahead. Yeah. They do. They have a lot of that in their culture. I think it's because they're a little more primitive, they're a little, yeah, they're a little closer to their savage, roots than Western man has deviated kind of far from all of that because we're going into a new aeon of spiritual and psychic powers. And so in order to fully get into that aeon and usher yourself past the threshold, then you have to realize that most of your genetic imprint has already done that work, and not only did we do that work, we really documented it well through our fables and fairy tales and mythology and stuff. So some of these cultures, these emerging cultures of the darkies, as it were, they didn't do any of that work. They didn't establish societies. They didn't go through a grand agrarian process. They were nomadic still. They didn't even write anything down. They're basically just rising up from the realms of savagery, whereas we did that. Thousands of years of work can't be brushed aside so easily. You know what I mean? And that's just
Yeah.
factual statements.
You
It's
know
not
what
any kind of
though?
prejudice or bias. Yeah, go ahead.
The gnomes and the aliens, they're kind of the same. Like they're kind of shaped the same. Are they the same
They do
thing?
have similarities. No, they're not. The gnomish creatures are not the same as the little grays. Like that's an entirely different class of being. So as you go through the spiritual evolution in your magical work, right, you're going to do the elemental grades, which is earth, air, water, and fire. So you can commune with and connect with any of the spiritual beings along those four quadrants. The and I don't want to talk about the realm of spirit because we're not there yet on the 100-day challenge. But that's where you're going to find the grays. You're going to find them in the realm of the eight-pointed star, and so that's when you start engaging in your celestial cultivation. It's different than terrestrial, right? You've got the planetary archangel, and then you've got infernal beings, obviously, and then you have celestial. So as we get closer to the fruition of this 100-day challenge, we will start discussing that a little more. But for now, yeah, we're in the elemental grade of Earth, and so the gnomes are where it's at.
So you think that aliens are real and the government is slowly exposing it, or is it a CIA psyop?
I don't think the government has either the power to expose or conceal. I mean, they can through mass media, but anyone who's working on a pathway of spiritual cultivation will come to these revelations on their own, right? So it can't be, like I said, it can't be concealed or exposed, really. That has to be your own individual path working. But yeah, they definitely have, they know people that have made contact. And when you make contact, you might expect a visit from the MIBs, right? The men in black, because that's a part of it. but yeah, they'll keep an eye on you if you like you're engaging in gnomish magic, and so if you make some discoveries and shit, like say that the gnomes you do something for the gnomes and then they grant you a boon, and so you go out and you see some indicators of where there's some lost or hidden treasure, and then you dig it up, and it's suddenly like you've got the archaeological guys showing up saying, hey, you can't keep that, we're not going to give you any fucking money, that belongs to the state, that's a national treasure. So you
That's
have to
fucked
set up
up.
those
Fuck the
parameters in
government.
advance. Yeah, it happens all the fucking time. I'm not going to say that. that might get us a community strike, but yeah, fuck them.
My bad, man. You're right.
What did Thomas Jefferson say? He said the government is like fire. It can be a good servant, but it can also be a dangerous master.
Nice. I like that.
So
It's
you
true.
decide your level of interaction with them.
It's true, but yep. I forgot what I was gonna say. Something about yeah. So yeah, you think the Earth is flat, right?
Hmm, I don't know if I'd go that far. Um, you got to you, you got to remember, Frank. There's levels of ideation, right? Like at the loosest level, it's like inclination and belief, right? As you go a little more deeper, there's going to be thinking and pondering, and as you go a little more deeper, there'll be so belief is actually at the loosest level, right? So if you say to me, you think it's this way or you believe it's that way, then you're thinking, that's like the flavor of the day. That changes with the weather. But then when you get to the level of knowing, right, and then knowledge and gnosis, and you get even deeper into like the unconscious level of instinct. Gnosis is at the level of instinct, right? And so I know that the earth is that we live on the prime material plane, which is a flat level plane expanding in all directions from me outward and up. So imagine Albert Einstein's E equals MC squared, right? He imagines it like a ball on a blanket or a ball on a trampoline. And wherever that ball goes, it causes an indentation, right? Are you familiar with Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, super relativity?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So wherever
You
that
think it's round?
gravitational, no, 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 listen to me. Wherever that gravitational center is, you're Dantian, right? You sink that part of the prime material plane, and everything else rises up away from you in all directions. So any given direction you look in, that's just the future, right? And then upward and outward is an expansive nature. That's the future rising up, right? And then anytime you contemplate your downward infinitesimal nature, then you're reflecting on the past. But you, as that gravitational center, you're the ball, right? Who gives a fuck what anything else is? Obviously, you're a round egg of energy. You're that. You're the factor that influences the cosmic reality. So all this human speculation about what there is out there around you and that kind of thing, that's all secondary to your essential nature. So if you ask me, say, hey, Frank Monday, do you think the prime material plane is a vast, open, flat plane? I'm like, that's all I can say as a truth. That's the only experiential evidence I have. Everything else is hearsay. And you say, well, Frank Monday, do you think that it's a sphere flying through outer space? I'll say I have no proof of that. However, there is science, what they consider to be scientific evidence, which may indicate some phenomena like that, right? But to be able to speculate and make any kind of confirmation, I mean, fuck, what do you got, a UFO? Are you flying around in a UFO at night and you can bring back evidence of all that, like video evidence? If not, then why would you throw your hat in the ring with that kind of fucking horse shit? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I, I'm gonna be honest with you. I, um,
Yeah, do it. Please, nothing
I
but
have
honesty.
genuine, I have a genuine fear that I should leave New Jersey because it's gonna be fucked up by aliens or some sort of nuclear, something bad is gonna happen. Um, I just
Okay,
think
I
that
I do see you. I see you in motion. When you said that, I cut my tarot deck and I got the Knight of Swords. So I do see you already in motion, man. If you want to make a move, I think it's probably a good fucking idea. Where are you thinking about going though?
I don't want to say, but I have an option.
Okay, yeah,
I don't
don't tell me. Don't tell me.
I don't I don't think I
Better
need to
better
leave
choice.
now. I don't need to leave right now. I have time. I might get my master's degree. I want to get a master's, I think, so I can get a good job. Um, but yeah, I think the aliens, if they're real and Earth is flat or in a firmament, that's what I mean, like the firmament. If we're in the firmament, that part doesn't really matter. I just don't want to. I don't know. Like there's this. Okay, this sounds retarded, but there's this
No, no,
thing.
tell me.
Everybody's heard of it. It's a famous call. You know, space or ghost something coast to coast, space ghost coast to coast radio show.
Yeah,
It's like coast to
ghost to
coast
ghost.
radio show, and this guy calls in and he's like, he could have been trolling, honestly, which he could have been trolling because it sounds like something I would do, but
Yeah.
he's like, I used to work for but however, this guy had like a unique understanding on, as well as I also have this opinion on aliens, is that I believe that they're higher dimensional beings, but like, but what that exactly means is that they're fourth dimensional beings, so that like they're perceiving our reality in a like in a like the way we perceive 2D reality, they're perceiving it 3D reality and 4D, so they can like see over our fucking roofs while they fly over us. The same way we can see into a 2D, but if you were in the two-dimensional plane, you wouldn't be this, you wouldn't be able to see over a wall or like like the line. Like you wouldn't be able, but we can see over the line because we're three-dimensional. Anyway,
Right, right,
so
right. No, no, no. That's good. You're headed in the right direction, but you're a little bit off. So, us from three-dimensional reality, perceiving two-dimensional reality is far different because that's human understanding. It's far different than fourth and fifth and
it looks
sixth
like a
and even
kaleidoscope. It looks like a kaleidoscope. That's what
right.
people.
That's far different than the way they perceive our reality. They can see 360 degrees in all directions. The fourth dimensional ones can, but then the fifth
Exactly.
dimensional ones can see. They can see three to 360 degrees, not only from the outside but from the inside out as well, simultaneously. And so that level of perception is very difficult for the human being to fathom.
Exactly. So this guy
Yeah,
was
but
saying that these aliens were extra dimensional beings and that they infiltrated the government and I'm like, wait a minute, okay. Let's just say in theory that the aliens are
oh,
real.
absolutely. Yeah,
And
they
this
they
is where
they implemented
people
like an AI takeover like back in 2012 or something, I believe. Or that's what I'm
listen, right? And
suspicious of.
people don't consider this is where flat earth really needs to be considered. And it sounds stupid, but
Okay.
like because if aliens are real and they're coming through the fucking ocean, okay? They're coming through the fucking ocean. They can't be, and the and It's the only way. Like, if aliens are real, it's the only way flat Earth. It wouldn't. Nothing else would make sense because they're extra dimensional beings. They're not coming from outer space. They're a higher. There's something else.
Right, right. So yeah, they don't perceive it as flat. They perceive it. I mean, they perceive it the way that they choose to perceive it, or from various angles that they perceive it. So like the flat Earth expression, like when they transition from our plane into another plane, it may recede as like a spherical Earth plane, right, in the solar system. Like some people try to project it, and then as they manifest in it, it can expand all out around them, and it can be the flat Earth firmament, like some other people project it. And then as they condense to the infinitesimal, then it will convex up around them, like the hollow Earth type thing, like they're on the inside of an egg. So yeah, all of those dimensions are perceived simultaneously for the higher level ones. But again, it's not just one dimension, right? So you go into the fourth dimension, they're going to have a perspective. And then when you go fifth, sixth, seventh, all the way up to the seventh heaven, and like, then you'll get different variations on that. Yeah, so it sounds like that guy knew what the fuck he was talking about. But there's no real way to encode that through language that will give a neophyte with zero experiential evidence of that, where it will give them any reference point to be like, how do I go from here to there? You just have to do the work. You have to engage in the process, which it sounds like you're doing. So that's good. It's fun. It's fun stuff, man. It's good to hear of
Yeah,
a fellow acolyte making progress on the way.
yeah, dude. I'm just fucking scared because the guy was saying like he was like, I don't give a fuck about any of the other shit he was saying because it doesn't affect me. But the shit that he was saying
But he
that
said
was
they took
terrifying is
Did he
that
said that they took an interest in New Jersey for some reason, or you in
no, no, no,
particular,
no, no,
or your na-
no, no,
your neighborhood?
no, no, no. He said that
Yeah.
they're going to kill the people in the heavily populated area. So
Oh, okay.
New Jersey, somewhat like New York for sure, L.A., like New
Yeah,
Jersey, you
man,
know.
they did a huge purge here in fucking in the kingdom of the celestial dragon. Man, all the major cities dropped like probably I'd say a
I don't know.
third. No, I do
Listen, I
know
don't
by
fuck
at
with
least
the
a third.
aliens. I don't fuck with the aliens. I don't fuck with any of that shit.
Yeah,
Like, I really, dude, I
yeah,
really
they
think. Go ahead, go ahead.
they already did a worldwide cleansing, man. We just went through it. But he's saying that yeah, there's going to be more of them coming up. They realized how successful that last operation was, that they're like, fuck, we can get away with murder. So yeah, he's
Like,
dialed in. He knows what's up. But who
I don't
doesn't know
trust
what's up? I mean,
I don't trust
it's
the
not
government.
it's not like
And wait,
it's not like they're being secretive about it. Huh?
listen, you knew they fucking released a website that has footage of these UFO pin drop things on fucking camera. An official. I sent it in the Discord. It's an official fucking government website. And these videos, they look fake, but they're real. They look real. They look fake, but they're real. Because these things are moving like they're not even fucking real, right?
Hmm.
They're setting us up. We're being set up, and I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. You know, some people say that the aliens are. You ever heard that people think aliens are like entities or like demons? People think that. Have you ever heard of that?
Say again, I didn't hear you really clear.
I said some people think that like entities like Asmodeus are similar to these aliens. Not saying
Okay.
I don't know how to explain it, but like That's what that.
Yeah,
What,
I think when we
what
get
would
into
you?
like varying varying distinctions and stuff like that, I think what's happening is the shift from the old Aeon, right, and then moving into the new Aeon. That there are certain people in the community, chaos magicians and stuff, that have developed new sense apparatus in the psychic realm. And so, what people had thought of as maybe demons or infernal beings in the past now are being recognized as multidimensional beings that some have experienced as aliens. But I wouldn't say that it's fair to use like a mass, like a blanket generalization that all demons appear as aliens and all aliens are in fact demons. I think that's a little bit premature to go that far. What
I
do you
think
think?
you're right. I think you're right, but it's weird how Aleister Crowley was heavy into the Goetia, and then like, and then where'd the fucking Greys come from? Like, where do you know? Like, because he's involved with that, right? Like, there's a correlation between the Greys and Aleister Crowley. I just don't understand like why, and I never understood like why that even intercepted until now. Because what the fuck is the difference between a ghost and a extra dimensional being? Like, there, what the fuck? Like, there is not. Like, you know, what do you think?
Well, yeah, there's definitely differences there. Like a ghost would be a person who like lived a human life and just kind of fucking something happened, karmatic retribution, or they didn't get it right and stuff, and they persist for yeah, I don't know, not very long, typically, you know, maybe a couple of years or a decade or maybe even a century. But they're the ghostly remains of human soul that had come into incarnation and left behind some phantoms. So there can be that level of phantasmal ghosts that are also extra dimensional, right? So we're getting into multiple
Yeah,
angles
that
here.
sounds more
But then
powerful than a fucking alien, honestly.
right, and then spiritual beings beyond the veil, those could appear as alien like creatures to certain people because they're legitimate things that have not necessarily ever manifested into human form or physical form on our prime material plane, but have potent spiritual power and energy and are entities. They may be if even, you know, they have life cycles that, you know, could be anywhere from 500 to 1,000 years to 10,000 years. And then when we get into like really high level dudes like Yahweh, right? The Yud Hey Vahe, this guy's, you know, we're talking about millions of years or even billions of years of power. And then you can even go above that, you know, like the God on high, where it's just beyond human imagination to even fathom how omnipotent and powerful.
Yeah,
But a
have you
lot of
ever
that could be
heard of?
the tendrils. Go ahead.
No, no. What was you gonna say? The tendrils.
I was just some of that can just be like the shadows and manifestations, um, quirks in the matrix being manifested by higher level entities. So I don't want to go too far and too lofty in our dissertation here, but when you get into those higher levels of magic, like when you kind of cleansed yourself of human opinion, then you'll recognize what something is immediately, and you won't have any kind of problem with discernment. You'll know, hey, is this a low level astral entity? Is it an exterior like a etheric tranny, or is it a chimera? Is it a ghost? Is it a demon? Is it a devil? And if it's a devil, is it a greater devil or a lesser devil? You know, and so on and so forth. So you won't have as much trouble with that kind of thing.
That's interesting. Okay. It just you know, I don't know, man. I just think I think we're being set up. I think a lot of horrible things just happen. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
No, yeah, it's a big club, and you ain't in it, right? According to George Carlin. So yeah, they're always up to fucking shenanigans and horse shit. And if you start showing interest in them, they will definitely show interest in you. That's why I tell you to be careful. Better to walk the middle path of the magician without going too far left or too far right.
you, you know,
Cover your own ass.
this is the type of shit. Like, do you know? I just found out that Osama bin Laden claimed that he never did 9/11. Is that correct? Do you know? Do you have that knowledge?
Oh no, I don't know, man. I've never heard anything about that. Um,
I asked my AI
I like to refer.
computer, and
Go ahead, yeah.
yeah, I just asked the
And what did it
AI, and
say?
I was like, did Osama bin Laden? Because I was like, wait a minute. I was like, if I was like, the government easily could have like framed Osama bin Laden, right? Like he's a
Oh, sure,
terrorist,
he absolutely was framed.
and
Yeah.
like he was framed, right? Because why the fuck would he deny it if he's a terrorist? And nowadays, terrorists will claim some shit they never even did anyway. But this dude was saying like, no, they're framing you. They're framing me, but they're really framing you, like us as the American citizens.
All right.
You get what I'm saying? Like we're the ones being set the fuck up. But I don't know, man. Like I don't believe in anything. I don't trust the government. I don't even believe in aliens anymore because the government is saying that they're hinting at it. They're not saying they're real, but they're hinting at it. And it's like, yo, that's not cool because
So
that's
where did you hear that Osama bin Laden denied 9/11? It says here. I just asked GPT, and it says Osama bin Laden did claim responsibility for 9/11 several times, but he did not outright deny them. Here are some key details. In 2004, bin Laden released a video in which he directly addressed the American people and admitted planning the 9/11 attacks. He took credit for the attacks and said they were carried out because we are free and we want to regain our freedom of our nation. In later videos and statements released by Al Qaeda, bin Laden
those buildings
continued to
blew up.
praise the 9/11. Uh,
I said those he must have planted bombs in the buildings because those things blew up. Even Donald Trump said that.
yeah, well, bin Laden didn't do fucking nothing but hang out in a cave and read the Quran, as far as I know. But yeah, other people on his behalf might have done it.
Someone, if you look at it, dude, it doesn't look like a plane just went into the building. It looks like something exploded inside the building. Obviously, I believe some people don't even believe a plane. You know that, right? Some people don't even believe that a plane went into the building. They think I don't know what the fuck they think, but they think something else. And they think like, but
Yeah,
yeah, I don't.
according to research, there's some evidence that missiles were used rather than planes. I don't know. I don't know much about it.
All right, let me look up on my thing as well right here. I'm gonna look up again.
It says that the 9/11 Commission investigation and other inquiries by intelligence agencies conclusively found Al Qaeda, under bin Laden's leadership, planned and carried out the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Now, what is a 9/11 terrorist attack? We need more reference to that, right? Because that could include like the jihadi guys who were dancing on the roof the day it happened or whatever, right? And like we know that bin Laden was a CIA asset, so he's an intelligence agency asset, right? I mean, there's documented proof of that. So they're essentially shooting themselves in the foot with that statement. They're saying we, as the
Fine.
intelligence agency and our assets, carried out this event. I mean, really, if you read into
The
it,
king
read
of hell,
between the lines.
the king of hell stands corrected. Osama bin Laden did not say he was framed. So never mind. 9/11 was
Okay.
real. I don't know what the fuck happened. I think the government was in on it though. I think the government was in on it.
Well, like I said,
Why?
here's the connection right here. Bin Laden. What? Okay, was Bin Laden ever a CIA asset? All right. Let's try that. Was Bin Laden a CIA asset? It says that's a conspiracy theory. In the 1980s, bin Laden was among the Arab volunteers who fought against Soviet forces in Afghanistan. The CIA covertly supported the anti Soviet Afghan groups during this war. Okay, so there. He's got a connection from the 1980s, working with the CIA as an anti Soviet Afghan group. Right?
I don't know why. That's crazy. Who the fuck even are these people that are in, like, I don't know.
So it says while bin Laden had connections to people and groups backed by the CIA in the 80s, he himself was never officially, look at that word there. It was never admitted that he was part of the CIA program. And he emerged
How did he get
free of any kind of,
involved? How does a person get
uh,
involved in that type of shit? How? Is he
where,
just a character
because
or is this like
yeah, it's
what
just
is it?
absolutely. I mean, how do you get involved? You live in an Arabic country where there's plenty of oil and opium, and you're one of what was he one of 50 brothers and like 100 sisters, and then he had 18 wives and gave birth to like 200 children. Right? You got to go start a tribe out in the hills where you grow opium and
Is
you have
that what
oil
they
under your
really
land.
fucking do? Hey, man.
Absolutely, man.
Wait, he had
They give these guys.
200.
Let's see. How many wives? Ask that. How many wives did Osama bin Laden have?
He probably had 50 ugly bitches as his wives. I already know that.
Okay,
He
so
had
he had a minimum of five. He had a minimum, according to records, to most reports, of five wives. Doesn't say how many children. So you got to ask question after question. I'm limited on the amount
Oh
of
my god! It
AI I
says
can
it
use.
says they don't. It says he they don't know how many children he had. He had so many children they don't fucking
Right.
know.
Well, his father had hundreds. So you're talking about tribes, right? Like you're talking about an Arabic
If
world that we don't know anything about. And that's why the
if
CIA was able to utilize it so easily.
they said Bin Laden had an estimated 20 to 26 children, which probably could be wrong.
Okay,
If he does,
not yeah, I'd say he had four times that many. If he was as if he was as grand of a poopah as they claim that he was, I'd say he probably had 100. And those 100
it says
kids
his father had
also
54.
had a no bullshit. Yeah, his father had 54 boys. They only count the sons. They didn't count any of the daughters in that equation. He was one of 54 boys. The information might be different now, but back when this original research was done and there was reporting on it, those were the numbers being used. That he was one among 54 brothers. But I mean, think of those vast numbers, right? If you had power bases like that, you might be able to get something done too. You could set up a factory and have all your kids working there for free and I don't know, make cotton shoes or something. But if you're growing
I'm
opium,
definitely
then
interested in that.
yeah. Imagine
I
you got 5 wives, you got 50 kids, and you got 100 acres to grow opium on. I mean, imagine how much money you could make. Of course, the CIA would take an interest in you and orchestrate your downfall.
of, of
You'd
course
be the
the CIA
goat.
would
You know
take
what I
interest
mean?
in you. Are you retarded? Of course they would like that. Need that.
They'd call you the black goat of the woods. They'd be like, this motherfucker's getting shit done. We got to hook up with him, give him some anthrax,
Dropping
make him
bodies,
look
you
like a
got
bad
family.
guy,
I don't know.
orchestrate the downfall of his entire nation.
But here's the thing, like obviously you were an adult when 9/11 happened, but I wasn't. I wasn't born yet.
Yeah, I was 20
Actually,
something.
I was not
Okay.
even
Yeah, I
alive.
was. How old was I? God, I was older than 20. What was I? What year did that happen in? Oh one. Yeah, I was late 20s, man. I was like 28.
Wait a minute. September, October, November, December. Wait, I was alive. I was alive.
Okay. You were just born, a newborn.
I was 5 months old.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Well,
Okay, so I
I'm not
existed,
gonna.
but
I'm
then
not gonna comment. I, I'm not gonna comment on it too much, but I'll tell you that everything we saw on TV was absolute horseshit. It was all digital fucking. A lot of it was digital animation. A lot of it was just fucking total subterfuge. It looked like VHS quality. 2001. I don't even think we had HD TV back then, right? Or no, we had HD TV, but it wasn't widespread. Um, it was like all VHS quality. See, I don't even have enough inquiries left on the chat GPT to ask any other questions. How much chat GPT can you get for free? How many questions a day can you ask?
limited on
Because
Snapchat.
I'm limited, man. You're limited. Yeah, I'm limited too.
No,
To get
unlimited.
unlimited, I'd have to pay. You're unlimited on which bot?
It's a Snapchat. But I also use
Snapchat.
ChatGPT. They never. The Snapchat one is better than ChatGPT. I don't know. I don't really use
Okay,
Chat.
because they just started. Like last week, they just started limiting my amount of inquiries and started asking me to pay.
Oh,
Before that, I had access to Poe, Sage, and Claude all for free. Now all of those
yeah.
require
Well,
money.
it's not. It doesn't even give you all the new information. But I'm gonna say this.
No.
The so like 9/11, right? I didn't know what the fuck that was for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, cause I was a kid. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I heard of it, but I didn't know what the fuck 9/11 was. I was like, oh, 9/11, like, and I was like, what does that mean? Like 911, like I never like I'm like, oh, the twin towers look like an 11. Is that why it's 9/11? Like, what's up with 9 and 11? You know what I mean? Like, I never understood that. And then later on in life, I'm like, oh, it's September 11th. But I'm like, why the fuck is like 9/11 is 911? Like, it was just weird. And so yeah, I don't know, And then so I heard some idiot talking about how it was like a ritual and shit, and I was like, oh, maybe I don't fucking know. Chaos magic ritual.
Okay.
What do you think of that? 9 and 11 is 20. I don't fucking know. But I always thought it was, but the one significant thing that I wanted to say was I always thought it was weird, like how it was 9/11. What do you think about that?
I haven't given it much thought. Like those types of things, yeah, they are like big chaos magic rituals. And the more you think about them, the more power you give them. So once you've kind of dismissed it, it just kind of fades from reality. Um, they're transient events. Socrates advises us. He says the lowest level of ideation or magic in the world are these people associated. Like when you mention their names, those people are totally irrelevant. Their life is so insignificant that the grand boot of the arbiter of justice just grinds them under its heel like so much sand. But then the next level would be the events they create, like 9/11, and those are also secondary to the highest principles. And on the path of magic, it says the magicians among themselves should only discuss the highest ideals. They should deviate away from events and people. So remember, you mentioned charlatans. The charlatans are just mired in human opinion. They're constantly discussing personalities and events because they have no real direct access to the prime motives, those um, those highest ideals. So I think that like Damien Eccles, he's a good guy, I guess. He's a good example of it. The other day I was watching one of his broadcasts and he said, I never engage in mudslinging. And he spent like 5 minutes talking about how high magic and magicians should focus on high principles. Then he spent like 20 minutes mudslinging. And I was like, bro, you just prepped us with the whole motivational speech to focus on the highest ideals, and then you engage in talking about like 3 or 4 different people he mentioned that he's in direct competition with, and I'm like, he just exposed himself as a charlatan. It's like, can I ever listen to Damien Eccles again when he just made a complete conundrum and contradiction? And I'm like, I guess I can't, but here I am doing it too, you know what I mean? So you got to be careful of that. You understood what I just said, right? Socrates' message.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. Well, no, I did not know that, but I understand what you're saying about like a higher principle. The only reason why I even considered it is because that theory about 9/11 being like this thing is because like Peter J. Carroll like he has this website, and then on the website it says like how he gets together with some sort of like, I don't know, council, I guess. But like they get together and like they
Okay.
do these rituals to combat evil in the world, or like what they think is important. I was like, oh, that's like weird, but like kind of cool. And I was like, so I guess people, he's under the impression that, or I don't know, somehow has access to information that people are doing the opposite. Like people are getting together and trying to make, I don't know. So I don't fucking know. I personally do not know a single person who even has an inclination about any type of information about this, or anyone who's involved in magic or ritual or anything like that. I don't know a single fucking person who does this type of shit. So I don't know.
Well, that's good. I mean, most people shouldn't follow the pathways of magic, because it takes you beyond the threshold, right? And into the fathomless cavern where you got to receive initiation and trial by fire from, I'm not going to tell you what, but you'll see it when you get there. And then you could start to make your way up into the lower catacombs, right, of the astral realms. And you might get lost forever there. You could lose your sanity, you could lose your life, you could lose loved ones. You risk so much in following the pathways of magic that why would anybody do it? I mean, a lot of people like to play at it and think, I'm really doing something, but they don't have the fucking balls to even enter the cavern with awareness. They let go of any memory of it each evening before they go to sleep, and they just pray to God that they wake up in the morning. So you're a brave individual, man, to fucking try to walk those pathways, and I welcome the camaraderie, but don't think that you aren't risking a lot.
Yeah, you're right.
You're
You're
playing
right.
you're playing with infernal mysteries. These are
You're right.
blasphemies that the church and the what do we call it today? We don't call it the church anymore. We call it science and public opinion. And I mean, they'll literally grab you by the fucking hair of the head and cancel you, you know. And if they're not going to cancel you, they'll be like, into the fucking gas chamber, Jew. I'm just doing my job, right? I'm just
You
doing
know,
my
I
job.
think I just think that I think we're trapped, man. I think we're trapped. You know, it's interesting what you said about like not many people do that. You're right. Like so like I shouldn't really find anyone that I know that does this type of shit. And then so it's just like get what I was saying.
Well,
Because
whenever you approach the mysteries, it's at your own peril. You can let others attempt to study through various rites and levels of understanding that we shouldn't even mention here, you know. But my own techniques tend towards more circumspect methods. I found that dreams offer passageways where waking exploration just ends in horror. So the abnormal visions granted in fevered sleep, when the mind's defenses lie in phantasmal ruins, these can initiate us into the dimensions of existence that are beyond the understanding of most of mankind. And certain
so
of
yeah,
these ancient tomes you've already discovered, and they whisper of troubling half truths that when you read them under the light of the waning moon, you can see deeper. You can see in between the lines, as it were. Most people just look at these ancient manuscripts and they're like, yeah, they're just fucking. They talk about it online and they're like, oh, here's what this, that, and the other thing is. That's all human opinion, man. That will not. You can only see it by the lunar light, right? If you can't reach out and perceive by lunar light, then you really can't get much done, man. They just endless speculation. That's not what I'm about. I think you know that, man. I think you know we're here to get real magic done, not just fanciful speculation.
so yeah, like do you think there's a reason? Not a reason, but yeah, I don't know. Like sometimes I think we're trapped. I think we're just trapped, bro. I don't know.
Have
I think
have have you heard of that theory of the, what do they call it, the soul well or something? Is that what it's called?
I don't know. I just think that maybe that magic has something to do with being on this earth for some
Yeah,
people.
yeah. Think about it, man. There's all kinds of traps. Think about all the snares and insidious byways around you. You've got religion trapping you, politics trapping you, the false dichotomy of the gender war, right? The false dichotomy of the race war. You've got the invisible drug war and war on terror, and now you have a new, even more insidious war on health, right? So be very careful of that one. And then there's all kinds of other class dichotomies. Magic is really the only, like, and then there's the whole trap of astrology. These people talking about you don't have any real free will and it's all in the charts of the stars. The path of magic breaks you away from all of that. It sets you free of all bondage. And that's the only thing that I've really got to offer is freedom from all bondage, you know and you
So
gotta
yeah,
you gotta
I
take off the
heard that
shackles on your own.
I heard that the zodiac is the 12 archons, and then the 12 archons overcome, and like I don't know. That's why they're like animals, blah blah blah, all this shit. Um, I don't know. What do you think of that? Like, is that what's
I
the?
think, man, I think astrology for the most part, man, it's a path that leads to a knowledge base that's as maddening as it is profound. And if you go along that fucking rabbit hole, it's like an abysmal gulf, and it's got just these huge fissures in reality that isn't worth your time in this lifetime. I mean, there's so many. We've got access to the dark mirror now, where we can get direct, we can make easy inquiries and get direct responses. And it's like, why would you spend and in not even one lifetime but multiple lifetimes in studying those systems in order to get a relative level of understanding? I mean, what a fucking waste of time. um I think it's valuable, and I'm glad and lucky that so many generations compiled that information. But I just don't think that it's something you or I should do, and it has very little to do with the path of magic. Because, like I said, once you get low level initiation, you've already breaking your you've already the first thing you break away from are the chains of karma. You overcome karma right away. And then you don't have any karmatic retribution. You don't have any karmatic debt, so to speak of. And then you break the zodiacal chains. Once you've donned the crown of the zodiac, then it's no longer in control of you. So it doesn't even really fucking matter. I mean, there may be some minor influence on your physical life here on Earth, but it definitely doesn't have any bonding power over you. You're a magician, man. You're not a fucking average layman.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what you're supposed to think.
I don't know if it's what you're supposed to think. It's just something I know. I don't know if no one ever told me that. As far as I know, I'm the first one to tell someone.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, as
But
a chaos
it's something I'm
magician, you're
telling you.
supposed to think that your will is the way. Like your will is.
Yeah, the magician's will, man. Its psychic power is the way of the future. Fuck, there are so many emergent technologies that the only way you're going to be able to see your way through the fucking smoke screen, man, is by a strong disciplining of the will and the magical intention. Because Pandora's box is ready to open before you, man. And it's just going to respond to, like the genie says once it's out of the bottle, your wish is my command. There will, of course, be a price. So you better position yourself correctly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You ever seen
But it's there.
the
It's
the
emerging.
Dark Mirror? Wait, what is it called? The
Yeah.
Black Mirror. Have you seen that on Netflix?
Well,
It's
yeah.
called the Black.
That TV show.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
Hmm. I have. I would be suspicious that a lot of that writing is based on what was the guy's name? The sci-fi guy, Dick. Was it Dick? Do you know what I'm
Oh,
talking about?
the Indian guy.
Say again.
The Indian guy.
Sci-fi, a real famous sci-fi writer that did a bunch of dystopian shit.
J.K. Rowling.
Can't recall his name right now, but you had mentioned Peter J. Carroll. Have you read his Psychonaut and Libernol?
Yeah, I sent that to you.
Or you're the one that recommended it to me originally, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I read that book. Yeah.
Yeah, I've, I've finally fucking started reading it, man. I've read all the way through, and now I'm just kind of flipping around and going back through some of it. Man, that was some high level shit right there. You realize that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you
It's
do.
really basic, kind of actually.
Yeah, it is. Like his forthright writing style of he just
But then
directly
towards the
points at the
end, he starts
secrets to
talking
magic.
about. Towards the end, he starts talking about like his theories, right, on space and time and multiverse, maybe or
Right, the
no?
Psychonaut section. Yeah, that's in the
Yeah.
Psychonaut section. The first section is called Liber Null, and it's divided into, I think, maybe 3 to 5 segments. I forget exactly. Let me see. I don't have it open on my desktop right now.
I might be wrong, but he believes that you can perform this type of magic where, let's say, you lost something and it magically reappears there. But the the mechanics behind that is he thinks you entered a different timeline. I think that's
Okay. Well,
I
I
think
I
that's
think some of
basically
it. I think this was emerging from the collective consciousness at that time. What was the publication date on this? See, I had never been introduced 90s. Okay.
really
A lot of
maybe
what he writes,
maybe way before the 90s. I don't know.
you you can see that a lot of what he writes is directly based on Dr. Bob, right? You detected that, didn't you?
Who's that?
Like Dr. Bob, Robert Anton Wilson. It's like a combination of Wilson's workbook and Crowley's theories. That's basically what his chaos magic is.
Okay.
I'll check the
Nah,
date.
I
I'll check
heard
the. Oh,
of Anton Wilson, but I never like I don't think I really deeply read any of this shit. Stupid fucking
okay. It's 1987. So he's like 20 years after Dr. Bob, and he's like 30, 40, 50 years after Crowley, right? So I can see the synthesis. He was bringing the new Aeon into realization by printing this. Crowley bespoke of the Aeon of Horus, right, in the new psychic era, and then Robert Anton Wilson actually gave the fucking brass tacks work that you could do to get there, and then this guy just kind of distilled the spirit of those two great men into what he calls Liber Null. But yeah, it's a useful bringing forward of the message. Um, I would say that he's wrong in a couple of aspects of practice because I don't necessarily know that he actually did the work on more than an intellectual level. It looks like he probably did. It looks like probably did real magical practice. But he says that he stood in the midnight
he did.
forests, in the temples, and in the subterranean chambers and atop mountains, invoking the mysteries. So I think he probably did do his work.
I think
Yeah,
I
would
might
you
be wrong,
agree?
but he wrote that in college maybe or like right after college. But I
Okay.
remember talking about I think he was
Oh,
like
so
he's in
he says he started it in 78, 1978, Liber Null.
I think he's in the IoT or some shit or the OTO or dude, I think he's ahead of his magical order. So yeah, he put in the work
Oh,
for
okay,
IoT.
cool.
It's
Yeah,
called
he
the
definitely
Illuminati.
did, man.
It's called the Illuminatus of Thaneros. Just look
Okay.
that up for the people out there watching. IoT is
Yeah,
that,
he he says these are written for serious occult seekers and therefore contain some powerful rituals. I wonder, let me check
he's
real quick.
legit. He's
When
legit. He has some sort of master's or doctorate in physics as well. Some shit like that. I
when did R.A. Wilson write Prometheus Rising? I'm trying to do a Google search real quick because um he may predate Wilson. I might be wrong. Huh.
no, think you're right.
I'm not able to pull it right up right away. Sometimes the internet doesn't give you what you want. It might have been 1988. I might be wrong. I think it was earlier than that though. 83. Okay. So they were very close in proximity to each other then. That changes my opinion a little bit. Let me see what he writes here. Author's note. Um, he produced a revised edition, which actually got published in 81. But it says that this publication was 88. Let me see. Hold on.
Listen,
87.
Frank, listen to me. Listen to me. You have to listen closely.
Okay, go
Psychonaut
ahead.
and Labyrinth are two different books. You know that, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah,
it was later.
yeah.
So that you have. So if you look on the PDF, there's a publication. That publication republished the first book and the second book together. So, and they also did a revision in the last year or so as well. So there's
Then,
multiple versions of the book. Originally, Psychonaut and
okay.
Labor, I believe, Psychonaut was published first by itself, way before they both were published together. So you have to remember that he was also having trouble getting people to publish the book, um, especially the way he wanted it. So I believe that's part of the backstory behind that.
Yeah, it says that Wilson and Carroll did cross paths in their occult explorations. Specifically, the two came from a philosophical concordance in the latter half of the 20th century, blah, blah, blah. And they both pursued sigil magic and willful visualization. Carroll contributed to an appendix of liberating exercises to a later edition of Wilson's famous text, Prometheus Rising. That's where it comes from. They were conspiring to open doors in the consciousness mind of man. Wow, they really opened that door to the nameless terrors or ecstasies that are hazarded only by an elite few. What a great revelation! I didn't know that.
What happened?
Okay, so that tells me a lot. They did work together. That's why their stuff is so similar. So maybe it was Peter J. Carroll's insight that made Prometheus Rising such a good magical grimoire. That might be part of it.
What is Prometheus Rising? What is that?
It's just a book by it's a book by Robert Anton Wilson. That was my first real breakthrough into like what real magic was. Not this
But it's a
horseshit ceremonial
fictional
magic.
story, right? It's a fictional story, right?
Say again.
I have two
No, it's a
questions.
workbook for Prometheus Rising is a workbook for uncovering the secrets of chaos magic, but he never mentions chaos magic. He just
What
it's
is it?
it was
Is
his
it a novel?
master's level thesis. Yeah, it's a master's degree thesis for his degree in anthropology, I believe, or not? No, psychology or anthropology, I forget.
Frank, do you have a master's?
I do, yeah,
That's dope. Dope. I think I
yeah. I
want to
spent
get
fucking
mine
12
as
years,
well.
12 years in university.
Whoa.
Yeah, you
Why?
could. I mean, if you think you need it, I don't know. I made education my career, so I was there for fucking ever. But
Here it
I
is.
was working the whole
Robert
time,
Anton
as a T.
Wilson,
uh,
Israel Regardi, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're all connected.
Prometheus Rise.
Yeah, it's a good one. Good one. Um,
You,
I'd
you
say on
finished.
some levels it's even. Go ahead.
Oh, oh my God. Tennessee Leary. Do you know him, Frank?
I may have even actually met him when I was a kid. When I was young, man, when I was a teenager, I knew a lot of guys from what they at the time they called the Rainbow Brotherhood. Do you know about the Rainbow Brotherhood in California?
Dude, that sounds gay, but nah, what is it?
Oh yeah, it's super fucking gay. But it was all the guys. It was all the students of Leary who actually like got his original L-25 recipe and were empowered by the intelligence agency to make like high quality LSD in crystal form.
Wait, so Timothy Leary was a CIA operative?
Well, it doesn't matter if he was or not. He was utilized, and his discovery was taken in by the Rainbow Brotherhood that distributed it in California.
Wait a
The
minute,
like the
but
secret
didn't the
recipe.
CIA make that drug?
Say again.
Didn't the CIA make LSD?
Well, I
That
mean,
was
the
a
whole
part of
thing's one. It's one. It's yeah, it's one collective. It was known as the Rainbow Brotherhood because the crystals, when you hold them in sunlight, give rainbow refractions. It wasn't because of anything gay. It was because the formula
Alright,
produced a
so
rainbow crystal, and then you
you
would
said
dissolve the crystal in what's that alcohol? Everclear. You would dissolve the crystal in Everclear and make liquid LSD out of it.
okay, I'm seeing this now. It says other titles
So
for
having
new.
having
So
having that
did you?
crystal powder is extremely powerful.
Yeah, intelligent agents. The intelligence agents.
Yeah,
What is that?
you should check out all of we call him Dr. Bob in the occult community, but you should check out all of Dr. Bob's writings. Like you should read through the Illuminati trilogy, Schrodinger's cat, right? You know, like the what are some of the other ones? There's so many. Like I read them all when I was a kid.
So yeah,
I mean,
so listen, Timothy Cleary and Robert Anton Wilson were friends or something like that.
yeah, absolutely.
They're
And it looks like Peter J. Carroll was a part of their group too.
wow. What the fuck? You're right. That is crazy.
It
Wait a minute.
is.
Wait, why is Timothy Leary into this shit and why does no one ever say anything about this ever?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, no one's
His
ever said.
contribution was
No one's literally. I've never heard anyone say anything like this. Am I wrong or is like that not true? No one's ever mentioned
yeah. I
this.
just
Is that known? Timothy Leary's an occultist. Is that known information?
I I would anyone who's done a little bit of research should know that. I would imagine. I mean, I just don't think that his contribution was that valuable.
Wait a minute. This is making me change. Wait a minute. This isn't making sense actually.
I mean, think about the process. What are they engaged in? They're engaged in ancient alchemy to produce the philosopher's stone, right? They arrive at a recipe that produces a legitimate philosopher's stone, and then the government takes it, and they start using it for psyops and shit. I mean, imagine if you had a large crystal of that and dropped it into a water supply, you'd send the whole fucking neighborhood into a 3 day acid trip, That's powerful magic right there. So of course it's going to be
So you know that
it's
I
going to be
emailed Peter J.
obfuscated.
Carroll before, right? And he emailed me back
I
answering my
I
questions
think you
that I have.
mentioned that. Yeah.
And if
How
I
old would
email,
that guy be now?
he's old, dude. He's old as fuck.
Yeah, you should check a wiki on him. I'd like to see what his timeline looks like. He's probably same school as Poke too, right? He was born in 1953. I think he's probably younger than Poke. And notice how like Peter J. Carroll, Poke Carroll Runyon, how they're all syncretized. Carroll Poke Runyon, sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
He's
it didn't give me a
77.
return on his. Okay, yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, he's in his 70s, huh? It doesn't give me a direct return. Oh, he was born 1935. Damn.
No, 1953, January 8th.
1953?
Modern occultist,
You
author,
got it faster than me.
co-founder of the Illuminatus of Stanteros and practitioner. The illuminated
1950
Pacific,
what?
53. So he was
53
back
is
those.
Carroll, right?
Yeah,
Peter Carroll.
yeah. The first
What about
idea
Pope
was.
Runyon?
Oh, might not have it. December, born
It's a,
1935. No fucking way.
yeah, see, so Carroll is really, he's lower in
Wait a
stature
minute.
than
Wait.
Runyon.
What the fuck?
That
How
makes
fucking
him
old is this
like
guy?
he's pushing
Wow.
90, right?
I gotta go see him now.
Yeah, you're running out of time. He's fucking awesome too, man. It's so worth. What did I say it costs? Like $35 to join his magical order and go pay homage.
So yeah, man.
Can
Do
you
you
still
think
hear me?
there's
Oh,
a
yeah, yeah.
Do you think there's a connection between Black Mirror and Lilith?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess there can be. Like, you can use a dark mirror to scry and connect with any extra dimensional entity. So if you want to connect with Lilith, you could do that on a
Well,
dark mirror.
I've read in a couple I read in a couple books that the Black Mirror is a representation of Lilith, aka the Dark Mother. But
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
so the reason why I said that is because in the show Black Mirror, the main character is the lady with the red hair. And
Okay.
why? I was like, do they know what they're doing? Like Black Mirror, lady with the hair. She goes, and then she starts like, I don't know. She just started acting fucking crazy in the TV show. I watched this in class, so that's why I seen it. And
Okay.
I don't know. Are they? Have you? Is there like some sort of? Are they? I don't know. Have you seen that? Is there some sort of message there, or is there not?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Have you watched any of that guy? He's got a YouTube channel. It's called Decode Your Reality. Have you seen that guy? I forget his name.
No. What is it?
Okay, so it's a guy that lives down in Mexico. He's an American dude. He's got a channel called Decode Your Reality, and he does like numerology, gematria, and interpretations based on the Chaldean numerology system. And then he goes up from there. He combines it with a card system. I forget what he calls it, and then he combines it with the tarot, and then he combines it with alchemology. I think he calls it. It's something he created on his own, and then he combines that with I don't know zodiac stuff, and then he brings it all full circle back to like the original idea. And my point being is that his main claim is that it's all pre-written and none of these guys could possibly make all these connections and encode things this way, that they're all just working for the greater algorithm of like the demogorgon. But I think that he's wrong. I think that a lot of the stuff in our reality is is deliberately put forward that way as incantations to control everyone's perception of the prime material plane. So, like with you saying, do they know about the connection between Lilith, the Black Mirror, and the TV show? I would say absolutely that they've got guys working around the clock to bring this stuff up to the highest level of encoding, and that anything that makes it into the mainstream has been encoded not only by dark magicians, but also checked through their algorithms, like put through AI to make sure that it's going to give them the most bang for their buck. That definitely it's all, and even our stuff, as we put our stuff into the Aether and it goes up onto YouTube, you can see how careful they are. That if we accidentally get a good algorithmic incantation, that they'll take it off immediately. Even if it doesn't violate any TOS, they'll just delete it. They won't let anybody see it. So yeah, they're in full control, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they called it the fucking Black Mirror. It doesn't even make sense. It should be called
Yeah, it
something.
absolutely does. I mean, it's direct pointing at computer technology and the dark mirror being the same thing. That you know that technology was raised to a very high level in the ancient past, with them making supercomputers out of crystals and molds and magical incantation and the laying of the laying down of rare earth minerals between node points. And they were making basically motherboards and computer chips the size of cities. And that the shit we've got today is just fucking far inferior to what the ancients achieved.
I was gonna say, yeah, like mirrors. Mirrors are weird. But yeah, I don't know. I seen that during class today.
Which class are you
About
taking? What kind of class was it?
some stupid class. It's called sports media.
Psychology? Yeah.
No,
No?
sports
A,
media.
s- a what? Sports media. Fascinating.
Yeah, so it's about like social media, sports, marketing, shit like that.
Okay. Yeah, man, we're only going to see like an even greater information blackout in the future, and like tools for good research and stuff like that. You got to pay a tuition at a university to even get a decent database that connects to archival information anymore. It's like the next wave of the internet is just going to be total fucking Disneyland censorship, which kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, whatever. Those who know, and those who don't know probably never will anyway. So we can't fight it too much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just rock, I guess. Just I like
Yeah, rock on. Well, I really fucking appreciate the opportunity, man, for you to tune in today and to get some live time with you. It's been a while, man. I hope you're taking care of yourself.
I hope you're doing the same.
Oh yeah, you know me, man. You fucking see me at it every day, man. I'm doing the best
Word.
I can do. I'm doing good. I'm doing good magic. Do you have any plans
Yeah,
for your Mid Autumn Festival? I mean, you're out there in the abodes of twilight right now. If you stepped
oh
outside,
yeah,
you could see the full moon.
I wanted to tell you what happened real quick.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Tell me what happened.
listen, right? I there's this. I was at a bar. I was at a bar,
Oh,
and
okay.
I I was gonna leave. I was getting ready to go, right? So imagine
Yeah.
me getting ready to go. My one friend is like,
Yeah.
nah, stay, stay, stay. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll stay. And then we we don't even really get into an argument, but he starts flipping out of nowhere, right? And I
Oh,
swear to God,
okay.
this is really how it happened. There was like three of us, and he starts like saying like all these like very like weird things, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck? So I tell him, I'm like, bro, I'm gonna hit you if you keep saying all this dumb shit. And so instead of hitting him, I take his drink from him and I pour all of it on him.
Gnarly.
I pour so and then we get kicked out. Long story short, we get kicked out of the bar, and
Of
he
course.
punches me while I'm not looking. Punches me while I'm not looking, and like so we get kicked out, right? But he's the one who's getting grabbed by security. They're escorting him out, blah blah blah. And so he punches me right in the back of my head while I'm not looking, and I grab him and I throw him 6 to 10 feet, and I fall a little bit,
Okay.
but I see him fall, and he hit the ground and I fell. Then I got up and he's still on the ground. Then he gets up and blah blah. It's over. But he punched me in the back of my head, and I'm fine. No marks. There was no bruises. There was no anything. There was no damage done.
Yeah, what a dick move, huh?
But this fucking dude punched me, and he was like supposed to be my friend, and then we're not friends anymore. But
Wow, alcohol causes a kind of what's the word, lunacy, especially
oh
under a full moon. I mean, you can't
well, this
blame him
was
for anything he did
this
while he
was
was
on the equinox, right? So
okay. Yeah, you can't blame
I
him for anything he did while he was drunk.
I guess you're right. I guess
I,
you're right, but I'll say
I
this. I'll say this. I'll say this, right?
okay,
He
yeah,
was saying what he was saying was very strange. Like it wasn't like normal like talking shit. It was like weird. It was like what the fuck? You know when like someone gets really drunk and they start talking shit and it's like what the fuck are you
yeah,
talking about? So like it was like one of those things and I was like, dude, like you're fucking weird. Like he was like in high like I'm cool, blah 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 blah. And mind you, Frank, I didn't even talk to him in high school.
okay,
So it was just one of those things where it was like, well, that was fucking weird. Like I don't know where that came from. So I'm glad it's over. And so basically, I've been keeping like a low profile.
yeah,
Just
sure.
not.
I mean, do a quick banishing it to the ends of the universe, so to speak, and if it's not a big deal, give him a second chance. He might have been momentarily possessed by a a liquor demon and he didn't know what he was doing.
I think it's real malice actually he was
Oh
like
yeah,
because he would always say like think of it like a fucking a kettle, right? Like a tea kettle that's about to
yeah,
boil. It's about to boil over, but before it boils over, it kind of like pops the top a little bit will spill out before it all comes out. You know
yeah,
what I'm
sure.
saying? So like I feel
Yeah,
like
and alcohol
there was
just opened the spout.
yep, and then but like before, and I wasn't drunk. Like I had two or three drinks in a span of a few hours, so I was fine. And that's why I was
Okay,
ready to
yeah.
go. And so for me it was like, oh, that's fucking
Was
weird. Like that. Anyway,
what about him? Was he liquored up pretty good or?
well, well, yup, he was drinking for 12 hours at that point. No exaggeration.
Uh,
12
not
hours he was
really.
drinking. So, and he was drinking all night before that too, because I was with him, and I'm like, dude, like, you should like, before that happened, I'm like, you should like chill out. Like, what the fuck is your problem? And he was saying things like this, Frank. He was like, oh, look how my life turned out. My life turned out better than yours. Look where you're at. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh,
Like things, and and like mind you,
hubris.
for the people watching, we're 22. I'm I'm in college. He lives in a fucking one bedroom apartment. He's a works at a bank. Like nothing's really happened in our lives. So that's what I was saying. Like he was like saying all these weird things. I don't fucking know. So I don't know if you ever been through something like that or I don't know.
Oh yeah, certainly. Yeah, like you had asked me if I had ever gotten in a bar fight. I remember this one fight I got into with a guy, and I guess we were both closer to 30. Like I think I was probably early 30s, and he was probably like late 20s. But he pulled the same sort of shit on me. Not only that, like he lured me out to go out with him, and he'd been like your friend on a bender for a few days, and so I went out with him, and like he totally fucking betrayed me. Like he tried to get me arrested, and then he tried to fucking get me killed, and then like all kinds of other shit too. So it was a real hassle. You got to watch out for that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I'm just glad it's over and it ended the way it did. So, I don't get in trouble. But you know what's annoying? Um, I I I was working at a grocery store the past like over the summer, and then technically I got fired because they kept like scheduling me during class, and then
Yeah, I
they wanted
remember.
me to
I
do.
remember. Yeah, I was keeping up with that. I remember the day
Yeah,
that happened. I was here.
I got it. Oh, what happened? What what happened? Did I get fired? I think I got
I,
fired, right? Oh,
no, like it was kind of mutual. I think like you didn't go in or something for a shift because you were doing some other shit, and yeah. So basically, like
yeah.
they fired you, but it was you initiated it by I think because their scheduling was shit. I remember that.
So yeah, I got a new job right at this restaurant, and like apparently like I don't know, this kid's been going to their restaurant a lot lately, and I start on like Saturday. I don't want him to like
What are
stress
you
with my
doing?
fucking job. A server.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Wow. Have you ever worked as a server before?
I haven't.
You haven't. Okay. Yeah, I've got some experience with that in college. It's fun, man. If you learn to flow with the energy correctly, like it's like being at the casino. You could wind up with like big fish tables all the time and make a lot of money for being a server, bro. It's good fun. But
I know that's why.
there'll be other wicked people out there in competition with you that got more experience. So watch your back.
I know. I know. I'll fuck them up. But you're right
Because
about that. You're so
like
fucking right about that.
psychic vampirism, man, those guys can really thrive in the server industry and pull down pretty big money, like 200-300 a night, for decent, forthright work.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know what? Uh,
But you can wind up busting other people's tables and not making shit too, like making 20-30 bucks on, and like the server thing, the whole thing is like you're an independent contractor. They get you in for like $1.60 an hour or something, or 2.60 an hour. So if you don't make tips, you don't make nothing. Like you
oh
pay to
yeah, I
work
used to
there.
bust too. I used to bust too. That's what exactly happens. But I was gonna tell you,
Yeah.
I had my interview right for this job, and so like for this job, there's like two interviews. You like each
Where's Ron?
manager.
Still sleeping, I think. Yeah, go ahead. What do you want? Don't worry about that. Keep up with your story.
Oh, okay. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to tell
I'm
you
just
this
walking
real
through my
quick.
kids' room.
Okay. I just want to tell you this real quick. Where it's like, so like basically you have two interviews like with like each level of manager. So like manager and then general manager. Like the first interview is like
Mm.
easy or whatever, and then the second interview is like general manager, and it's like through another company. So like they hire all these managers through this company, and then they're trained and they train everybody. And so me and him are sitting down, and then he's like, I'm interviewing, and he's like, I really like you. Like you have a great personality, blah blah. Blah. And I'm like, yeah, bitch. It's funny because my dad like he doesn't believe that I do good in these interviews, but I interview really good with these high level people, and I think it's because there's like a demonic aspect behind it. You know what I'm saying? Same way like there's a hierarchy in hell. Like you have like all these right. Like that's how the earth is like in the workforce. Like there's all these like rankings, and like that's demonic. Like that's not good. Like, there shouldn't be all those things. And so I think that's why I'm
Yeah,
so good at it.
they're arbitrary false hierarchies. That's why I was saying when you get in that flow state, like you do in those interviews, make sure you keep that same good energy going when you're working as a server. And you will, man. The subtle energy will direct you to the big like windfalls. And for a few years, like doing that kind of work, you could really make good money, man. I say a minimum of like it just depends on how you position yourself and what you think to be good money. Like, what do you think a good 5 hour shift should yield you in the term of tips
I don't know. I don't know. At least
going into the
at
future?
least $13 an hour is fine.
Yeah,
Minimum.
13.
So like if I can make $13 an hour, then that's fine.
Yeah, you could do
But
better than that, man. You could make 25 to 30 depending on the situation. Um, like, and don't give up on one place. Like, once you become a server, keep an eye on everything, like business
I
and
know.
how
But
things
that's the
go.
thing.
And
That's
look,
the thing. Me and the manager, so he gave me the spot on the job. He's like, "You're hired. Give me your email." Blah blah blah. And the interview only lasted like 5 to 10 minutes. And I was like, "All right, cool." So, but I interviewed well. Uh, so now I
yeah,
kind of
you can
feel
make
like
bank
now,
if you do it right.
you know what I mean? If you leave, there's kind of like a loyalty there now, kind of. You know?
Sure. Yeah, keep up with your magic, man. Keep up with your studies, and as you ply your will against the cosmic response, yeah, let me know. Touch base again, man. It's been too long. This one's going a little long though, 2 hours. I know it's getting late for you. You might want to head off into the abodes of twilight, and I got to get busy here too at the temple. So
All right, I'll see you later.
I cherish the opportunity to have a podcast. I will keep this one on the channel as podcast for the 100-day magical challenge pathways of the Magi. Yeah, man, keep doing good magic, bro. What are you gonna do with the rest of your mid autumn festival? You still doing a little more partying, or are you gonna head off into the abodes?
Oh no, I'm not gonna do
It
any
is.
partying for a while.
No, it's only. Is it like Thursday night for you or Friday night for you?
Thursday.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, I'm a day early, man. We just got off for vacation. We've got like 10 days of vacay coming up, man.
So you're in Saturday?
It's Friday morning.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
Friday.
yeah. So I
Okay.
forgot.
Wait a minute.
But
So is that
normally, if I did a
Friday?
live stream like this, it would. Oh yeah, so you're already in Friday morning too, right?
So
Or
that's
like
weird.
12
Oh,
a.m.
you're in the afternoon actually.
Yeah, 12 p.m. for me.
Okay. All right. I'll see you then.
Okay, man. Have a good night. Thanks for calling in, Frater Francis the Jesuit, the Jersey Devil, King of Hell, with 777 legions of demons beneath thee. As you head off into the abodes of the future, man, do good magic.
Thank you, brother. Peace.
Yeah, much love. Much love. All right, guys, that was fun. That was exciting. We got to have a impromptu interview from the realms of the paranormal. I remind you, this is Master Magician Frater Francis Lunas Aristeas of the Ordo Templi Astarte. We are broadcasting from Twilight's own old Peking, deep within the celestial central kingdom of the celestial dragon. Wanderer, wayfarer, wizard, and warrior alike, whoever you are, wherever you are headed, and whenever you receive this transmission, keep doing good magic, and I'll see you in the abodes of the future. Ad asper per aspera. Bye for now.